everyone, before we get into today's video, I just wanted to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, Case-Defy. Look, phones are a valuable part of our lives. They can tell you where to go, they can tell you what to do, but you want to know the one thing they can't do? Keep themselves safe from drops and germs. Keep your iPhone safe from drops and germs while protecting your unique and awesome style. Case-Defy cases are slim and protective, with their G-Tech 2.0 technology protecting phones from drops of up to 9.8 feet. Scientifically speaking, that's the exact height of two little guys standing right on top of each other. As a professional clumsy man myself, these cases have saved me in more ways than one. Don't believe me? Let me show you. Oh, look at me, just hanging out and vlogging on my stairs again. It'd be a shame if, ooh, that sucks, but it's still on. You know what would be crazy? If the cameraman had a Case-Defy case too. Case-Defy has a ton of design and customization choices to choose from, allowing you to choose your color and print to match your style. Or if you're just looking for fun cases with cool designs, they literally have a bajillion of those. Case-Defy has sent me a ton of cases to try out, and I've used all of them. We of course have the weird blue rock case, the Night of Smiling Village case, the Chaotic Bunny Man case, and of course my favorite, the Smiley Chaotic Bunny Man drawing case. Look at him. He's just so happy to be there. Case-Defy has also released a ton of new cases for Android phones, including the Galaxy S22, the Galaxy Z Flip, and of course, the Pixel. With their Impact and Ultra Impact cases being made out of 65% plant-based materials, and coming in 100% recyclable packaging, made with recycled paper and soy ink, what is there not to love? And of course, my favorite part as a germaphobe is that their Defensify antimicrobial coating eliminates 99% of bacteria by preventing the growth of microbes and preventing bacteria from sticking to it in the first place. So it's clean for the environment, it's clean for your style, and it is literally clean. What are you waiting for? And tell you what, since Case-Defy and I love you so much, if you head on over to Case-Defy.com/scooch, you can get 15% off your order. 15%! That's 7% away from 22%! You know how high that is? One more massive thank you to Case-Defy for sponsoring today's video. Now let's dive back into the content. Gamers, as we all know, and this is something that not a lot of people agree with, but as we all know, right now is the best time in all of history to be a fan of League of Legends. Obviously, there were other seasons and other metas that people loved, but I mean League of Legends as a whole has grown way more than it's ever been before. We have TFT, we have the Ruined King game, we have Arcane, which is my favorite show to date, etc., 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 etc. And this is actually a top 5 that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm so excited to get into it. Because as we know, Riot is starting to make more and more games out of more and more of their characters, including the Ruined King, Hextech Mayhem, Song of Nunu, and whatever Echo Super Mario Bros. That's coming out next. And this is a top 5 I've always wanted to do because I think there are so many characters that Riot needs to focus on and give us content for. So yes, today we are doing top 5 champions that Riot Games has to use in other games. I could say that better. I could say that last thing better. Fuck it. This behind the scenes is interesting. Yeah, you know, crazy how I don't just talk perfectly every second of the day, huh? I know I said it's a top 5, but I feel like there's one character that deserves an honorable mention. Out of all 159 characters in League of Legends, there's one character that I personally think would be awesome to have their own game because of how interesting and unique the character itself is, okay? And that character piss people off. People are about to be so pissed. Of course, the character I'm talking about is Teemo, baby! Yeah! Yeah, Teemo! Okay, look. Bear with me, all right? The reason why Teemo is even up there, it sounds like it's bait. I know it sounds like it's bait. But the reason why Teemo is up there is because, number one, we need a Yordle on this list. There aren't that many interesting Yordles. Like, I know this is going to piss people off, but Tristana is just a worse or less crazy Jinx. Lulu is bananas. Heimerdinger is depressed because he lost his job. Ziggs already has his own game. So it's like we need one Yordle that can carry the Yordles. On top of that, Teemo as a character, he's kind of a war vet. Like, who wouldn't be down for a third-person shooter where you're protecting the lands of Teemo's hometown by shooting people with poison darts? Bro, a first-person shooter, and we can't lie. All right, let's be honest. Teemo is cute as hell, so it'd be like a first-person shooter. It'd be like playing a game about a Care Bear that has PTSD. Sign me up, all right? On top of that, like we all know, even though nobody likes it, Teemo is accidentally one of the poster children of Riot Games. He is. I don't know the numbers, and I will never know the numbers, but I think that the Teemo hat is one of the most sold merchandises in all of Riot Games' history. So Teemo having his own game because he's a poster children, and seeing Teemo and how his mind actually works, I think would be fantastic. Wouldn't like him in Project L, but I'd like him in whatever the hell they can cook up with him. Amumu Forgotten Again, bro, what is Amumu's game? Amumu Forgotten Again, what is Amumu's game gonna be? You're just gonna fucking walk around with WASD, right click, the harder you right click, the more you cry. Is that what you want? Depression simulator. It'll be lo-fi Amumu beats to cry to. Whoa, hold on there a minute. You thought we could just continue the tier list without being reminded that the majority of the people watching this video aren't subscribed? If you subscribe to the channel, you'll really help us out. On top of that, we be releasing bangers as much as we can. So I think if you ring the bell, you'll be excited because you won't miss any of these bangers. Now let's continue on this list. Now for the actual top 5. I just wanted to get that one out of the way. Again, sounds like bait. It's not. I think Teemo's cool, and I think he deserves his own game, and I think people would like that. Number 5 on this list is an interesting one, and this is mainly based on like gameplay itself. I genuinely think that Aphelios is one of the most interesting designs in like all of League of Legends. He is very, very interesting because he revolves around synergizing his 5 different guns. His 5 different guns play differently and they feel differently. The thing that sucks about Aphelios in League of Legends is that he's limited by League of Legends. Whatever game you put Aphelios in, whether it's like a beat 'em up or a shooting game or a PvE dungeon crawler, letting them expand on the 5 guns that he has, right? Like Healy, Steely, and Automobili, whatever the hell they're called. Letting Riot Games expand and giving Aphelios his entire like own game where you could see Severum and the flamethrower actually do something else, or you could see every single gun have their own skill set based on the fact that this one's lifesteal and this one's a flamethrower. And if it's an entire game, an entire Aphelios spinoff, you could like upgrade it. They could synergize better. They all have ults. You know what I mean? Sickle mode, exactly. It would be very cool to see how a game where Aphelios is the main character would progress. The idea that one of his guns can turn into a turret that he places down and that turret can mark other guns would be so sick. He'd be cool in Project L because I'd imagine he'd be like a very annoying keep away character. He'd be very, very cool in like a Diablo-esque dungeon crawler because having either wave clear or single target far away damage would be pretty sick. And he'd be cool in just about anything. I feel like he's a design that is too hard to mess up. Does that make sense? He would be a lot like the Deadeye from Lost Ark. Yeah, he'd be a lot like the Deadeye from Lost Ark. It'd be very cool to see that. On top of that, his lore is relatively interesting. I don't know all of it, but I think the lore of like him listening to his sister, him being a mute, it'd basically be like Legend of Zelda if it was written by Panic at the Disco. He wouldn't even go hat. He would just fucking, which is crazy because he's number 5. So if Aphelios is number 5, who the hell else is gonna be on this list? All right, chat. Can you guys take a guess on who else is gonna be on here? I want to see if anyone can assume what I'm gonna say. Almost puked. Someone said Azrael. This next one is the one that I think most people are going to say, like, they disagree with. And I get it, okay? But let me explain before you show up to my front door with a pitchfork, all right? Let me explain. I love characters in video games that revolve around luck. I think it's a very fun thing. It was great in Final Fantasy Crisis Core when you did a special move and you'd get a random special move. It was great in No More Heroes. Same thing, you do a special move and you get a random special move. And on top of that, TF as a character is very fun. He's a fun guy, walking around, swindling people, having a magical deck of cards that he could use to cast like magical spells and shit. It's pretty cool. Where's he at? Let's drag him up. And it's like giving TF his own like Western game, or giving him a game in Bilgewater where he's just walking around and like swindling people and being a dick, expanding on the pick a card mechanic, giving him a lot of abilities that are based on luck would be so fun in a single player game. I don't think it'd be fun in a PvP game. I think losing to RNG would be pretty annoying. Like, could you imagine playing fucking Street Fighter and Ryu throws a Hadouken and it has a chance to either deal twice as much damage, freeze you in place, or heal him? Like, that would be very annoying to deal with. So I think it'd be very, very cool if TF had his own like PvE type game. It could be like an open world game where he's going around swindling people. However, and chat, it's so funny that you guys are, dude, I love you guys because I literally, it's written down on my notes right here. You cannot say TF without Graves. If they gave TF and Graves their own co-op spin-off game where both of these idiots just get into trouble, like It Takes Two. Like if the developers of It Takes Two did a TF and Graves funny and wonky spin-off game where it's like they're just going around trying to avoid the freaking cops, they're trying to avoid getting caught, and they're just helping each other out, and they have like this brotherly or non-brotherly, depends on how your ships sail, this brotherly or non-brotherly connection where they hate each other but they connect really hard and care about each other, like Mugen and Jean from Samurai Champloo. I think that would be fucking awesome. But, and I know this is about games, but I will say this, and this is where I'm gonna piss chat off. In fact, I'll lean over to chat so you can see chat get mad. If they do a fun spin-off show, I would 100% take a TF and Graves show written by the guys who did Teen Titans Go. Sue me, bro. I would take a Teen Titans Go, TF and Graves misadventures. I would love that shit. It would be so funny, dude. Just two little wonky gremlins getting into trouble. Bro, I would love that. I would love that. Look at chat. They're so pissed. They're so pissed. Teen Titans Go. I don't care what anyone says. It's funny. And it's like, obviously, Riot can't make all of their content. At least I don't imagine them making all of their content as deep and dark as Arcane. So if they ever do allow other people to license IPs, I think TF and Graves would be the one that, like, you could make a show on Cartoon Network about them. You know what I mean? And I know this tier list is about games, but it's like you could make a tier list on Cartoon Network about a magical card user that can teleport and a above the law renegade that kind of hates them but also doesn't hate them. They are so perfect for each other. On top of that, have you guys ever played Graves with the Sentinel skin? Tell me right now. Let's go look at Sentinel Graves lines. Tell me right now that Sentinel Graves doesn't sound like he's written for a Cartoon Network show.
I demand the respect I refuse to show to anybody. Whoo, that one had some mustard on it.
It literally sounds like something Robin would say in Teen Titans Go. I demand the respect I refuse to show anybody.
I'm gonna rifle through your pockets now, and it might get weird.
Tell me that's not Cartoon Network or Cyborg. Like, it sounds like a renegade from freaking a Cartoon Network show. I would love it.
Sure, I rob and murder, but counterpoint, I robbed and murdered you.
And last counterpoint before we jump into number 3. Not Teen Titans Go, not Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is like the most successful show on Cartoon Network. Kids love Teen Titans Go. I'm letting you know, kids absolutely adore that show. So it's perfect to get kids into League of Legends. Not saying that we should get kids into League of Legends. In fact, we shouldn't get kids into League of Legends. But if we did get kids into League of Legends. Anyways, number 3. Now, this is another weird one that I think a lot of people will agree with, actually, but also disagree with. I think that giving Sylas his own beat-em-up would be phenomenal. I think that Sylas being in Project L would be phenomenal. On top of that, Sylas, if you think about it, is just Kirby, except he's old, white, bearded, smells bad, eats rats, but it would just be a good game. Chain-based beat-em-up combat. We've already played the original God of War franchise, didn't we? That was awesome. Having Sylas have his own like Devil May Cry-esque game, except per enemy he could absorb something and learn something from them, that would be cool. On top of that, as we all know, he can materialize weapons, it seems like, so that would be sick. It'd be like Kirby of War, exactly. It'd be more like, this is a weird one, and I am super dating myself here, but I'm gonna tell you guys, there was a game that came out for the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 called Brave Fencer Musashi. And you're a little swordsman, and you could throw your sword, and if it hit an enemy, you could suck the life out of them, and you would learn how to use one of their abilities. And then you could use that ability. And I feel like that'd be very, very, very cool. Or kind of like Elden Ring, because some of the people die and they give you the Ash of War and teach you their ability. Or they give you their sword and teach you their ability. I just think that giving Sylas his own beat 'em up, or just a fighting game. Like imagine if they gave Sylas because you know how they're saying that Project L is going to be simple to play. So I'm imagining it'd be like there'd be a special button, down special, up special, right special. How cool would it be if Sylas's down special was to steal the next character's up special, right special, or down special? And for the rest of the round, he could take Ezreal's down special, special 1, special 2, or special 3. And that could be it. That could be his whole thing. It'd be a very unique mechanic. There's not a lot of fighting games that even do that. There are characters that copy stuff. Seth comes with his own kit that is just taken from other people. Shang Tsung kind of does that, but not really because he just uses other people's moves or turns into them. But that would be very, very cool. That'd be crazy in the hands of pro players, yes. And it would be impossible to balance as well. But it would be very cool to put Sylas in either a fighting game or give him his own like hack and slash beat 'em up. You know what I mean? Now, number 2. Now that we're on number 2, I do want to say this was the hardest to do. Number 2 and number 1 were the hardest to do. And I almost feel like I'm going to switch them right now, even though I wrote them in a different order, because I genuinely feel like one of them is cooler than the other. So I might just switch them. Fuck it. Number 2 is a character that I think is just one, very fucking cool, but 2, almost impossible to do incorrect. Number 2 is a character that is loved and hated by everyone in the community, and it's a character that has some of the most versatility in the game because of how the character is structured. Number 2 is going to be Kayn, and it's because Kayn as a champion is such a unique design, because no matter what, Kayn can either become an assassin or this big, hulking, hard-to-kill monster. If you guys have ever played Fable 2, I think it was in Fable 3 as well. Or if you guys have ever played Spider-Man Web of Shadows, the whole dark versus light, and you can choose one way to go and they all play completely differently, is such a fun thing. In a fighting game, imagine if based on what Kayn does in the first round, the second round he has a new moveset. So if you play Kayn, you also have to learn how to play blue Kayn for the second round or red Kayn for the second round, depending on what happens to Kayn in the first round. As a PvE game, say something like Dynasty Warriors, you could either choose to go blue Kayn and get an entirely new kit that makes him hypermobile, able to dash around, do a ton of single target damage, or red Kayn, who's insanely slow but has crazy web clear, is way bigger, is way stronger, is harder to knock down, or a Kayn dating simulator where you could date Rust. It would be so cool to have Kayn in anything, because seeing the story unfold in his game where you could choose to either be Assassin Kayn or Rost by the end of it would be fucking awesome. Having that different layer is already very cool, like a game that has like a good ending and a bad ending, or a good ending and a bad ending. Kayn's a piece of shit either way. But having his gameplay change as the game goes on, when you take a step towards Rost, you can unlock Rost moves, and when you take a step towards blue Kayn, you could unlock blue Kayn moves. It would be so sick. I think Kayn in general is just a concept that is too good to fail. Number 1, and if you don't agree with me, I understand. But number 1, I sat there and I looked at every single character in this game, and I thought, like, what kind of game would be good for them? Where would this character fit? How well is their ability utilized in League of Legends, and how much potential does this character have? Number 1 is a character that, no matter which way I sliced it, is the most interesting character in League of Legends. Like, no matter which way I sliced it, if this character had their own game that Riot could actually sit down and hone in and change and customize and and do all of that stuff too, this would be the character that takes the cake. Number one, by far, and I promise, I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. Number one, by far, would have to be Kai'Sa. And hear me, okay? The Void is so underutilized. There is nothing about the Void. There is so little information about the Void. And she was just there the whole time. So seeing anything that happened in the Void would automatically make her a very, very interesting character. Like, seeing anything that happened in the Void would make Kai'Sa a very fun character to play a game about. But on top of that, Kai'Sa as a character, Kai'Sa as a character, one, she's attractive. That sells games. Let's just think about the business. Let's just think about the business aspect. Kai'Sa bad, right? But number two, it's like Kai'Sa has this evolving morph suit that she does, that nobody understands. It's an evolving morph suit. Think about how good that can be if it weren't constricted to a MOBA where Q, more missile. A morph suit that evolves as you play the game would be the sickest shit ever. Like a Metroid game where Kai'Sa, in the middle of fighting, she fucking her morph suit ends up giving her knives and she could do fucking hand-to-hand. Her morph suit ends up giving her the ability to do stealth. So there are sections where you could stealth through enemies. Her morph suit gives her the ability to dash. As the game goes on, you could dash 3 or 4 times. It's like, imagine if they made a game like Returnal, a AAA roguelike game based in the Void, where you get to see more about the Void, but her morph suit can actually be used to the fullness of her capabilities. It's like there would be so many amazing things that Kai'Sa as a character can encapsulate. On top of that, pairing that with the fact that she, again, comes from the Void, which is wildly underexplained, underexplored, underutilized, it would be insane. Kha'Zix would be better. Highly disagree. Kha'Zix would be a very good character for an enemy in Kai'Sa's game. Kha'Zix wouldn't be better because, one, people who don't like League of Legends aren't going to want to play as a bug monster. People who don't like League of Legends are going to want to play as Kai'Sa. Two, Kha'Zix, like, what is his personality? I'm gonna eat. I'm about to eat. It's like Kai'Sa at least has like a hero, Samus, doesn't talk kind of personality. I think that if they gave Kai'Sa a game very much like Returnal, or just her own roguelike where you're exploring different parts of the Void, and it's like the last boss is Kha'Zix, the last boss is fucking Malzahar, the last boss is whoever the fuck, right? It would be such a sick game. I cannot think of a game that would be better than giving Kai'Sa a roguelike where her suit evolves, and based on the power-ups, the evolutions are all different. And I say this as someone who fucking hates playing against her. I hate Kai'Sa in League of Legends. I hate her in League of Legends, which is why this video is called Top 5 Champions Riot Needs to Use Elsewhere. I think that her design is just shitted on in League of Legends. There's nothing you could do with it in League. Q, more damage. W, more damage. E, invisible. Her suit's supposed to evolve. But yeah, I think Kai'Sa's number one. And you know what, Kassadin, we'll put him next to her. We'll put him next to her, not because we want him to be number one, but because, you know, they deserve some time together. And then above both of them, you're right, Rammus Racing. And to end this on a good note, because I know that one of my most recent videos, or not even my most recent, I think it was like 3 videos ago, I kind of shit on Riot for wanting to remove solo queue. To end on a good note, making this list and like sitting there and like imagining this or that or this or that, it made me so excited for the future of Riot games, because Riot Forge has already produced a banger. Hextech Mayhem was also a banger if you were kind of into that sort of thing. The Echo platformer I can't wait for. Project L looks very good, etc., etc. And knowing that they have 160, it's 159, but let's just say 160, 160 fucking champions that are just as cool as these, I'm so excited to see what Riot Forge comes up with next. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know which character you want to see have their own spin-off game, okay? Let me know, because I am excited to see what you got to say. Anyways, subscribe if you like it. If you didn't subscribe, I love you anyway. I'll see you in the next one.